It is another edition of the Cool Soror podcast. How are you doing today? Hopefully you're doing well, and hopefully this story of Ash Brown will inspire you to be the best you that you can be. That's what we try to do each and every time we sit down with a cool soror, a cool bruh, cool people, which of course we are launching in January. So really excited about that, so we can expand the brand. And Ash Brown joins the Cool Soror podcast, and Ash is a cool soror of
Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well, my sister. Thank you so much.
Yes, you are so welcome. Got your blue on.
Are you not little blue, the pearl?
She ready. A little ready. Okay, just a little bit. So Ash Brown, I was introduced to you through one of my friends who is actually a cool soror of Delta Sigma Theta, who told me about you, got your information, and so I wanted to reach out, and I was like, let me do a little research on AshSaidIt.com first. And I was like, okay, this sister is definitely getting it in. You're a blogger, speaker, influencer, event MC. Did I miss anything?
Jamaican. You know Jamaicans got like 50, 11 jobs.
Yeah. But when you graduated from Columbus State University, did you always say you wanted to do the unconventional way of communications, or that journey?
It was interesting. When I graduated from Columbus State, I wanted to come back to Atlanta. I wanted to jump into the whole radio broadcast field.
Yeah.
I graduated, I had my demo, I had my resume, I had everything set up. Mm-hmm. And Atlanta was not feeling you, girl.
Yeah.
They were not. No one would give me a chance. I was faxing my resume every single day for about 5 months straight to all the major stations. I was mailing out demos constantly until I was like, okay, I'm not getting any response. I need to start reaching out to these people. So I started calling them up. I got in contact with a production manager at one of the major stations.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's I'm not sure about that.
I got in contact with one, and he basically was like, okay, Ms. Brown, I know who you are. Please stop faxing your resume to us. We got it the first
11 times.
11 times. No. He just said no. He was like, no, you're coming from Columbus, which Columbus is only an hour and a half away.
Right.
It's not like it's on completely other side of the moon somewhere. But he's like, you're coming from Columbus, you're not going to be able to acclimate to Atlanta's atmosphere and jump into it. And so I was hurt. I was hurt by that. I was a little bit discouraged. But I got in contact with someone that was doing an online station. And he was like, okay, with your skill sets and everything that you got going on,
right.
You know what, we're going to take you on.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fortunate enough to be able to continue to build on my craft and really get my voice out with that. But eventually that became something that was not beneficial to me and in the long run of it. And so I really just deferred from that, and I went and got a 9 to 5 like everybody else in America.
What'd you do?
What did I do with y'all? That's the question. I've done everything from retail, food service. I worked at a haunted house one season. It was crazy, but I was jumping into everything I could, and I wanted to make money because I had to pay off them student loans. Y'all know them loans ain't a joke. Loans ain't no joke.
Right.
So I jumped into pretty much everything until I got a job with the state, and I was with that for about 3.5 years until I could pay everything off. Once I paid it off, my mom was like, look, I need help with your grandfather, I need help with your sister. You don't really like that job anyways. You could do this, and we'll make up for everything else in between. So I was like, okay, I can do that because I hate this job. Don't like it. I was overweight, I wasn't happy, I wasn't doing anything with myself, I wasn't utilizing my skills anymore. So I took care of my granddad, my mom, my sister for about 4 years. Back in 2011, my sister and I decided that we wanted to continue a family legacy and join Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. And my Mama Boo, that's what we used to call her, Mama Boo.
Right.
She was right there with us, and we crossed over winter of 2011.
Okay.
And it was a special time because my sister, my little sister, that's my heart, that's my baby, that's my everything.
Right.
And so for us to go through that journey together.
Okay, wait. We got it. Okay. We want to get to that.
Okay.
We're going to get to that. That's the icing on the cake.
Okay. I won't give away too much.
Right.
Okay.
That's a special moment I want to get into. But I want to, go back to when you said when you had to take care of your grandfather and your sister. What does taking care mean? Is that financial support? Is it what did that entail?
Right. That was full-time caregiver.
Okay.
So doctor's visits, making sure they're taking their medicine on time. Just doing things around the house, taking them to and from appointments. So I didn't have time for anything else. There was no time for no part-time gig or anything. That was my sole purpose, my sole mission. And so when that was going on, 2011, Granddad passed away.
Okay.
So that's when things started to kind of hit. 2012, sister got a little bit more sick.
Your sister was sick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And she suffers from lupus.
Okay.
She suffers from different complications to lupus, where lupus is just a vicious disease,
and it's so different in every person.
It affects everybody differently.
It does.
So she was dealing with that, and eventually lost the use of both of her hips. So she is, we're dealing with that. So that's also in conjunction with mom started to get ill as well.
Okay.
And it was a lot. And my purpose was still on. I'm taking care of family. That's what I'm doing. That's all. That was my identity for that whole time period. Is I'm taking care of family. And there came a point in I need something for me.
Yeah.
I'm not doing the radio stuff anymore. I'm not doing the broadcast stuff anymore. I need to do something else that defines me. I need to find my identity of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of I love being a caregiver. I love taking care of my family.
But you depleted who you were by giving so much to everybody else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I decided that I was going to drop 97 pounds, train like a beast daily.
Hold on. Pardon me. You dropped 97 pounds?
97 pounds in a 9 month period.
Wow. How did you do that?
Portion control and exercise.
Yeah.
That's really everybody come out, well girl, how you lose all that, girl, you look good. What you do? It's all about moderation. It's all about moderation and how you fixating your food.
Yeah.
Portioning things out and exercise. Those are the two. Water is also a big part of it. Drinking, making sure that you're flushing your system daily on a regular basis. And once I did that, stuck with it, I signed my contract August of 2013. I was like, okay, I'm really gonna do this.
Right. So you had to sign your contract at the gym that you were going to, or
to the Army?
To the Army.
Yes, the Army Reserve.
Okay. Okay. So you were a caregiver. Your grandfather passed away in 2011.
Right.
Your sister was getting sick, and then your mother her health started to decline.
Right.
Where did Army, in your mind, come from?
I had always wanted to serve my country.
Really?
I'd always had that in the back of my head, I love this country. There was no other country I would rather put my life on the line out for.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always something that was kind of in the back skirts, but I was like, oh, well, I'm not in the right mindset. I'm not in the right weight range. I'm not going to worry about it. I do want to do it. I'm not going to worry about it for now. So when opportunity came for me to have this new goal, so to speak, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. So I worked out, like I said, like a beast. I was up at like 5 a.m. every morning, doing laps around the park, drinking my water, pushing my water daily, cutting out sugars, cutting out salt, cutting out all kind of sweets and all the things that we love.
That you love.
Yeah, we love food.
Yeah.
We don't love food.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I did that, and finally they gave me my date that I was going to leave. They said that you're going to leave December 31st.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the day that you ship off. You start basic training. You're going to Jackson. Okay. All right. So leading up to that, my mom had gotten really, really sick. Her health had started to really decline. I mean, she was losing bodily functions
mm-hmm.
in ways that, and just her joints and everything was starting to go down. And she was in the hospital that November and into the December. And everybody kept looking at me and like, well, Ash, your mom is sick. You still. And I just kept looking at everything that she had taught me and how she had pushed me throughout life to always conquer those goals. Don't settle for less. Keep going. And somehow I was able to grasp down into that and go.
Yeah.
And go. And so I remember even my recruiter, as he was driving me to the airport, that's where the drop-off is. He was driving me, he was like, Brown, you don't really have to go. Ain't nobody gonna think nothing. If you decide that you're not gonna go, it's not gonna. But I said, no, I need something for me. I don't know who I am anymore, essentially. I need to do something to define who I am, what I'm gonna be. And then this will also give Mom a sense of her baby is okay. Mm-hmm. She's doing something else. She's doing something. I'm giving her something else, an incentive to get better, an incentive to be more proud of me.
Yeah.
So I left on December 30th, and on the 31st, Mom passed. Ooh. And that was, I honestly, words can't even describe that.
That type of pain.
It was crazy because what happened the day before was our bus that was supposed to pick us up to take us to Jackson was late. It had broken down halfway between Georgia and South Carolina, so we were delayed. By the time they got to us and took us to Jackson, we were already late for, getting set up and getting all your requirements and things. So we had so much that was on our backs when we got there, and we were trying to get caught up with everyone else that was already there. So I remember getting some of my supplies in a basement. It was probably like 300-400 of us back there. Mm-hmm. And I looked over, and it was probably I think it was like 3 or 4 in the morning, and I looked over, and it was this giant yellow bin, and it said Brown, D. Mm-hmm. My mom's name is Donna Brown. Mm. And I just looked over, and I just remember just being mesmerized by it, like, okay, what does this mean? Is God trying to tell me something? What is that? Yeah. But I just kept going anyway. So we still kept going. Didn't sleep none. Didn't sleep the whole 24 hours or whatever period. And they were taking our blood that next day. And we were taking blood or whatever. And as soon as the person had finished taking my blood, I heard one of the drill sergeants yell out, Brown! And my heart just sunk.
You knew.
I knew. I knew it, and I was like, that's it. And so they got me and a battle buddy, some random girl that I didn't even know. They said, you guys gotta go up to the colonel's office and blah, blah, blah. I don't know what's going on. I need to go. So they got us, and, during that time, they were very disciplined. You can't talk to anybody. So it wasn't like we were communicating, we know each other or anything. Right. Complete stranger. And we got to the colonel's office, and the drill sergeant went inside and closed the door. When they closed the door, me and the girl got to talking. She's like, well, what's going on? Why did they take you up here? What'd you do? Or, what's going on?
You just got here.
We just got here, literally. And I said, I think it's something to do with my mom. I think my mom is, she might have passed. And she
said that?
I said that. I said, I think something went wrong. And she looked at me and she said, wow, she said, my mom just passed.
What?
You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. And a couple seconds later, they opened up the door and they let us in. And, they read out the Red Cross message. That's what they do. They give you a Red Cross message about the person, where they passed, what time they passed, and everything. And I just lost it. Mm-hmm. I mean, my mom was my best friend, my biggest supporter, my biggest cheerleader in everything. Even if it was crazy stuff that I was doing, she was like, okay, that's my man.
Right.
You gonna do something crazy? You gonna do the craziest stuff? You gonna be the best at it.
Right. Yeah, but she was there. She was standing right next to you.
She was
even in the craziest of moments.
Even in the craziest, fire engine, red hair. I did all of that. Yeah. Stuff, Rashan.
So when you get up from losing it, did you leave at that moment? Did you pursue the Army thing? Like, what happened after that?
Because of where I was in my contract, and it's so weird, I guess, because I didn't train on anything. I was still in reception. Mm-hmm. So I was still getting all my gear and everything. And because of my status, I guess you could say, I couldn't leave immediately.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I could not leave immediately. They told me that I had to go through some kind of paperwork or legalities to get out, to go, and then I would only be allowed 7 days, and I would have to be back to finish training. In retrospect, it sounds crazy, ridiculous. As you're going through, you're just like, yeah, whatever, I just need to get home. Mm-hmm. I just need to get home. And so I just kind of checked out. Yeah. I just kind of it's like you're looking at yourself going through the motions of things, and you're just like, okay, I'm going through. I don't know how I'm going through. I don't know how these things are getting done. But yeah, so they allowed me 7 days. I was under strict orders because I couldn't drive when I got home because I was technically property of the Army, essentially.
Okay.
And I don't know how that works either,
Right.
but I was essentially property. So if I had gotten into a car accident or something, the Army would have been liable
Okay.
because I was technically supposed to still be at training.
Right, I got you.
So that was weird to not have to go and not be able to drive. I'm like, okay, I'm driving Miss Daisy. Right. Just driving me around.
Right, right.
But yeah, so I still wanted to continue because I was like, this is something I want to do. I want to continue it. So I got back, and like I said, I had the 7 days, and I went back the day after the funeral. And I still mentally, like I said, I just had checked out. It was just like a disconnect, complete disconnect from my world and what I thought that I knew and everything that I thought that I knew. Obviously, that wasn't it.
Right.
And I got back, and I couldn't hack it. I couldn't hack the physical strengths of it, the mental strengths of being in training, and I couldn't do it. So I told him, I said, I need to go.
Yeah.
I need to go. This is not going to work for me. So I got back home and I said, what am I going to do?
So before you get back into what you're going to do, what was the time period like when you got back to when you said I couldn't do it?
When I got back that Sunday, that Monday I was actually supposed to start boot camp. And I was still going through the motions. I didn't really know what I was going to do. I was like, you know what, I'm back. I'm going to just go ahead and just knock this out. Let's finish this out anyways. Got to boot camp that Monday and was going through the obstacle course. And I had... I think it was a ladder wall or something, and I got to the top and I literally fell all the way back down into this giant puddle, and I just was just crying and just carrying on, and it just, everybody was like, well, what's wrong with her? We thought it was hot, we didn't know it was that hot.
Right.
So from there, they took me and they had me to speak with like a counselor and I forgot what they called the little pastor person. Chaplain.
The chaplain. The little pastor person. That's hilarious.
The chaplain. The chaplain. So I was still going through the different courses and everything with them. And every minute I was just bursting out into tears, just randomly I'm like, you know what, Brian? Go see the chaplain. Go see the chaplain. Because I get it. They're not supposed to be empathetic.
They can't coddle you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I spent a lot of time with the chaplain. Me and the chaplain got talked up real good.
Yeah.
We had some good chats.
Do you think, in retrospect, that you were even supposed to be there?
I don't know, honestly. I maybe that was something that was supposed to happen. I don't know.
Maybe for that day, God didn't want you to be right there when your mother passed. I don't know. Did you think of that?
Yeah. That's an awesome point. That could definitely very well
right.
be the right.
But it's all part of the journey, and it makes you who you are. So you're back home now, and you're like, okay, well that didn't work out.
Yeah.
So what you got next for me?
Well, I was already assigned to a unit.
Okay.
In Decatur, which was still weird. This whole military journey was quite enlightening.
Yeah.
And so I was assigned to a unit. And so when I got back, before I got back, they said your unit is going to discharge you. They're going to take care of all that, blah, blah, blah. I was like, do I really need all this stuff? Because, your whole backpack is like 96 pounds of just fluff. I'm like, I can keep that.
I don't really need any of this.
No, that's your responsibility. So I struggled to take that back home with me. But, so I got back home, and I still had that once a month commitment. I still had to show up once a month, even though I didn't know anything. I hadn't done anything, technically. I had my uniform and everything, but I still had to report. I was like, okay, well, that's something I got to do. What else can I jump into? I met up with a few companies here, local companies, filmmaker companies that were doing different things. They were doing sketch comedy. They were doing television shows and movies and stuff. And I had kind of jumped into that because I delved into it before previously. And I won't say it was necessarily my expertise per se, but it was something fun that I like to do. So I was jumping into that, and it just didn't drive me. It wasn't that excitement feeling of fulfillment that I was looking for, I was longing for. I was like, you know what, I need something else. I'm doing this stuff, I'm doing it well, but I'm not enjoying it.
Yeah.
So I had to cut ties with a lot of those people, and a lot of them felt some type of way. Oh well.
Right.
And I said, you know what, I need to just focus on me. What does Ash want to do? What is Ash good at doing? And I was like, speaking. I'm always speaking. I'm always in front of somebody's stuff, talking some stuff up. I'm always voicing people's stuff, narrating. You know, maybe I could do like a public speaking company, but I don't want to be just a boring old, public speaking company. I got to do something that's fresh, that's new, something that no one's ever heard of. I said, what about public speaking boutique? That's something new. I never heard anybody have a public speaking boutique. That sounds like something that I could really create on my own and really carve my own way through. So after a couple of weeks of playing with names and words and stuff and going back and forth with some of my really close friends and family, Ash Said It was born. And so Ash Said It is my public speaking company, and I do everything from red carpets to private events to narration to video work and hosting at red carpets. So it has really been a huge blessing.
Yeah.
It has been the biggest blessing to me, because I didn't know the turn of events that my life was going to go through. There was no way to know those things. And the fact that I am sitting here across the way from Rashan Ali.
Oh, man.
Y'all see this? Y'all see it?
I ain't nobody. When I emailed Ash, she was like, you fell short from saying, I grew up listening to you. Now, when I hear that, I'm like, oh, Lord, I'm old. I got old.
No,
but you did.
But I mean, I've gone through my journey, and I paid attention to Rashan.
Okay, that's good.
You like that? That spin on it. I like it.
I like that spin.
I paid attention to you.
Thank you.
And I mean, you're beautiful, you're educated, you're eloquent.
Thank you.
You are charismatic, and you're everything that I hope that people will look back at me and say,
wow.
I hope that, she's cool.
Yeah.
You know Rashan, but she's cool.
Gosh, no.
She's cool.
Yeah, Peruse was the thing. I had a chance to peruse your website, and you got some folks that are really supporting you. How are you able to foster those relationships that you've gotten from sponsors and to get people to believe in you? Because one thing about me is that I do not ask well. I don't ask for my nonprofit. I don't ask for my brand. And that's a real weakness that I have. And I'm looking at you and I'm like, man, she got this sponsor, this sponsor. Like, I wonder what the conversation was like. So when you sell yourself to people, what is that conversation like? Teach me. Seriously.
No, but I put myself out there, because opportunities do not present themselves always every day. And when an opportunity presents itself, you have to really look at it and see it for what it is and what it can potentially be in the future for you. And I've just found a way to just really delve into, hey, all right, we had this opportunity. Hey, how's it going? How things going? And, doing the follow-up.
Yeah.
Follow-up emails. Or as you continue to do different events throughout the city, they start to recognize you and see you. Hey, Ash, I saw you last week. It's so like, yeah, well, look, we need to talk, because I got this coming up or that coming up.
Right.
So visibility and keeping your mind open to opportunity, that's been a huge thing for me. And like I said, it's been just a huge blessing to have people to reach out to me and say, hey, we saw your video, we want you to do this, or we saw that, and you did this blog on this, all right, come through here, and we're going to do this for you. And it's just like, wow, people are actually believing in me and what I do.
Yeah.
And honestly, Rashan, for a long time, I think that my mom she believed more in me than I believed in myself.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest, hugest thing, because when she was gone, it was like, okay, I'm faced with this. Mama's gone. Okay. My support system is gone, All right. Different events, different costume changes and things that I'm going to jump out and do. I don't have that second in command and say, hey, you think this work? Because that's what she was for me. For every single thing that I did, I always went to her with everything. Even if I wanted to do something, I knew that she probably wouldn't be too supportive of it or be like too into it. I still went with it to her. So when it was time for me, I had to step up to the plate for myself, and I had to believe in myself. Ash, you are capable. Yeah. You've been doing this stuff for 50 million years. Do you think these people out here trying to use you just because? No, they know, they see something inside of you that you need to see in yourself.
Yeah.
And it's taken some time for me to get to that place, but I'm finally here, and I'm like, look, it's taking to leave it. I mean,
yeah, I love it. I love it. I had a chance to listen to an episode of your podcast, and it was one that you had a little cold, but you were talking about like dreaming big and making sure you don't let detractors take you away from where you are going in your life. And one thing that was very interesting in what you said is that people have been talking against me and down on me before I took my first breath.
Yes.
What was what?
But yes.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Tell me more about that.
What that was, my mom had endometriosis, really bad, to where there's some facts where she couldn't get up and walk. Literally, it was that bad. And at one point, they had to remove one of her ovaries.
Oh my!
And so the other ovary, doctors were telling her that ovary is sick. You're never going to have kids. It's never going to happen for you. That one little ovary that you got left, that's not going to do nothing. Is it? She went to doctor, to doctor, to doctor, to doctor. At that point, we were in New York, so she went to all the specialists in New York, all the specialists in Jersey, all the specialists in Connecticut, and all the surrounding cities for all of them to tell her no. Tell her no. And she talked about it with me. And she told me that it was a very low time for her. But even her mother, my grandma Lou, would tell her, man will say anything, but God has the final say.
Yeah.
God has the final say. So when she became pregnant with me, she
Were
said,
you the first?
I was the first.
Okay.
And when she became pregnant with me, she said that was just the highlight of her life. Because so much negativity was spoken over her and how it was never going to happen. And she told me as much as, like, when she used to get morning sickness, she would chew on ginger. And just so she didn't want to get sick or anything. Because she felt like I was her one chance. And so I know that I have to keep going. I'm sorry. It's not just for me, just for my sister, for my family, and for my mom's memory, because she fought so hard for me to be here.
Right.
And I definitely am not going to let her down.
She's happy. She is very, very proud of you in this moment. In this moment.
Definitely. So people have been talking about me before I was even born. They said that, at the small chance that you would get pregnant, Miss Brown, that baby would come out with all kind of deformities, all kind of issues. You would have a lifetime of pain and hurt, and this child would not make it past maybe 6 months, if that much. And so when I came out, and given they said that I cried for the first 9 months straight. After that, everything was cool. Everything was cool after that. And then, I kind of was a starting trend because my brother was born after, and then my baby sister. So it was just, my life is a constant reminder of what God is capable of doing.
Amen.
And that I was not put here by accident. And my life serves a purpose. And so,
yes,
that's what that is about. People, I'm sure that you've experienced as well. People using you, people trying to use your name and use your frame for something. And the minute that you stand on your own 2 feet, the minute that you don't want to listen to someone else has to say about something, then you're the enemy. You're the big bad wolf. Oh, you've done all this X, Y, and Z. I've learned to not care about that anymore.
Yeah, I had to stop.
Yeah. Because I don't know if it's just a societal thing, but sometimes people will put you in a box, and they try to make you fit that box and stay in that exact box, and then you're like, well, I don't really fit the box. No. You stay in the box. You stay right there up in the box. Stay up in the box and stay there. But I don't fit anybody's mold.
Yeah.
And I think that's what some people are afraid of, maybe. And some people are jealous of it even. I've come to that conclusion, which I'm like, I really did nothing for y'all to be jealous of, but check the resume.
Right. Yeah. Well, let me tell you this. You don't have to ever worry about other people. You just don't. You just don't. So when I was listening to that podcast, I was like, I'm going to tell her that, because the moment when you don't even talk about them, that is when you've accomplished that. When they don't matter, because as soon as you speak of them, they're still winning.
Exactly.
So as you move forward and as God continues to bless your life, and Ash said it, is going to do great things as he's already doing, you don't need to concern yourself with those people.
This is true.
Because you have a God and you have a mama who's looking out for you.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, what, you ain't really got nothing else to fear or to worry about when it comes
we push it
to
forward.
other people.
We push it forward no matter what.
Awesome. I love your ebook. It's a nice, easy read.
Yes.
Social Media 101, a beginner's guide.
Yes.
How did you decide to do that?
People kept asking me, well, Ash, what do I do this and how do I do that? And it was always the same questions back to back, back to back to back. And social media is something that I've basically studied inadvertently in the last, I don't know, like 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
I've watched it grow and I've watched it change and I've watched certain shifts. So I just took out a few of the key points that I was like, okay, people are always asking about this, like username.
Yeah.
You always ask, okay, well, what about username? And I use this, try to get them to match as close as possible.
Everything Rashan Ali.
Yeah.
Everything is Rashan Ali.
Exactly. So
I think it's very important.
It is.
Yeah.
It is very important and collecting and keeping your audience and keeping people up to date. You know, if you Rashan Ali here and then, you know, Rashan from down the street there and then Rashan got a bakery over here, it's too confusing.
Yeah.
The average user, they want something that is straightforward, to the point.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love the acknowledgement that you gave to your mother, Miss Donna, in the beginning of the ebook, which is so important. You've spoken about her throughout this entire podcast, but how do you think she shaped you? What is the most important characteristic that you have because of your mother?
I think making sure that my voice is always heard and sticking to my guns and my opinion. That is a huge thing that throughout my life she has always made sure, you know, Ash, look, think for yourself. Don't follow the crowd. Think for yourself. And trusting God.
Yeah.
Always trusting God, because during that time period, you know, after losing her and stuff, I just, like I said, I kind of just shut everything off. I just shut everything off, and it was like I was existing, I wasn't living.
Mm-hmm.
I was just there, I was alive, I was paying bills, but I wasn't really living a life that was fruitful and reaching out to others. So when I came out of that funk, you know, one of the first things I did was I volunteered. I volunteered with Gwinnett Relay. Gwinnett Relay is the world's largest Relay for Life event in the world.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Literally, it's the largest one in the world. They have typically, I think, 10,000 something people that come every year to go, and it benefits cancer. And this year, I was awarded the entertainment coordinator for Relay.
Oh, nice.
And it was a huge task. It was a lot of work. But it was beautiful to see it come together, because it's like months and months of preparation and getting all the artists together and practices and everything else that was in between it. But it was a beautiful setup, and I'm so glad that I did it, because that was one of Mom's. She was also a school teacher.
Oh, okay.
So she worked at the sheriff's office. She was a teacher. She did everything under the sun. You know, Jamaicans be doing everything.
It's all good. Now her baby's doing everything under the sun.
You know.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. You've done ads for Macy's, Old Navy, Home Depot, print and commercial. So, are you Rashan? Hello, Rashan. Am I looking at myself? Oh, hello. So you've done a little bit of everything.
I have. Around 18 or so, I started doing modeling stuff.
Yeah.
I started going out and doing auditions, and getting little spots here and there, and doing. Y'all may have seen me in some, you know, some small little catalogs. Some throwaway catalogs.
It's all good. Everything counts.
Hey,
you put it on your bio.
Hey, I sure did.
Yes, you did. That's how I knew about it. That's great. So you have your own podcast. You do it every single day?
I do it every day.
Girl.
I do a podcast every
God bless you.
But see, the thing about it is, with the podcast is I'm usually, and the funny thing about the podcast, all right, starting off, it was about a year ago, and somebody had told me about this app named Spreaker. They're like, do Spreaker, it's fun, blah, 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 it's audio. So I was like, okay, yeah. So I tried it out, and I was like, okay, it's cute or whatever. I do it like, you know, once a week, once a month or something. And I was like, it came to the point where I was like, I need to motivate myself. So I started talking to myself in the car as I'm going to the gym and I'm going to go work out.
That's what the sound is. Okay.
I started with driving, and I started off talking about what I was going to do for that day, what I was going to do for that week, what was going on that week, what's going on, and how to motivate and pump myself up. And people started to pay attention. I was like, oh, they can see what I'm doing. Okay. So I started doing the daily motivation because every day I need motivation.
We all do.
I got to talk myself into it, Rashan, daily basis. So it really started off as a motivational piece for myself, and it's somewhat branched off into motivating others. If someone can listen to my voice and hear what I'm saying and say, hey, Ash has a good point there. I needed to hear somebody say that today.
Yeah.
Then I've done my mission.
Yeah. That is awesome. That is awesome. So now I want to go back to what you were alluding to in the beginning. You becoming a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. So I know you mentioned that you wanted to continue that legacy. So your mother was a Zeta. Now where did she pledge? And tell me a little bit about that part of your mother.
Yeah, no, she had pledged way back in the day, right before I was even around.
Oh, gotcha.
And so she wasn't active for a long time, long time. So when my sister and myself decided that we wanted to, to join the legacy, she became active with a chapter in Stone Mountain. And from there, we started, to study enough and, pay attention to stuff and everything. So it came to the ceremony, and 2 days before our ceremony, she was released from the hospital because she was back and forth. She was still in the hospital back and forth then. And she had come out, and it was 2 days before our first ceremony. And I went out and said, Mama, you're not feeling good, you may just stay home. She said, I'm coming to the ceremony.
Right.
You're not keeping me from the ceremony. I'm coming to the ceremony. I was like, okay. I'll fall back. But she said that was one of the biggest thrills for her to be at that ceremony and to pin her girls.
Yeah.
To pin both of us.
What made you and your sister decide to do it together?
Well, I decided to do it just because I was trying to get into doing more service projects.
Right.
I wanted to be involved in more, and that particular chapter at that time was doing so much for the community. I was like, I want to be involved. I want to do something. And my sister, she was like, I want to be a part of it too. I want to do something too. Yeah, we got to, push forward together. So it was an honor. Yeah. It was a blessing, and it's something that, very few people will say that they got to do with their actual blood sister.
Right, and then to be penned by your mother. I know that was...
That was girl, it was waterworks.
I know. Are you still active in that chapter?
I am not at the current time.
It's all right. Go on and get back active.
Hey, we gonna work on that.
Right, because y'all 100 is coming up.
It's coming up.
It's coming up. Yeah, 3 years coming up.
It's coming up.
You need to be. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
From somebody who's been through it. Yeah. It's a good thing.
It is.
It's a
beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah. So make sure you are doing what you need to do,
Absolutely.
so that you can be in the mix and be on your own blue carpet.
That's right.
Come on.
That's right.
Go ahead and sit that thing on up with nationals. It's awesome. It's awesome. I know one of the things that you said before we close out here in just a second is that you wanted people to know that they have to continue to do what they need to do in life to be happy.
Yes.
Yeah. Expound on that a little bit.
Finding you're happy. That's the main thing that really... I think that for a long time I'd really not even focused on being happy. I was just functioning. I was a member of society.
Yeah.
And once I finally got to the place of being happy again, nothing else mattered. Nothing else. Peace of mind. You cannot, you could try to put a price on peace of mind, but to generally be a happy person in life without worries, without cares, without the stresses of this world, it is one of the most beautiful things. And once I found that, I said, ain't nobody gonna take that from me. I'm not giving that up for nothing. Y'all can sit up there and make each other angry or whatever the case is. I'm gonna have peace of mind.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. It's find you're happy, stick to it, don't let anyone take it from you, and continue being the best you that you can be.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the most powerful thing I can ever leave with anyone.
Yeah, that's good. Your smile is contagious. Love it, love it. How can people connect with you? We've said it all throughout AshSaidIt.com.
AshSaidIt.com, baby. And you can also email me info@AshSaidIt.com. I am One Love Ash across social media. So number 1, Love Ash across social media. If you want to call us up It is 1-800-274-4936. And I am so honored to be here with you.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. I ain't know what little mascara was on your list.
I'm telling you, though. You're gonna burn out all the emotions.
Yeah, but and as we always say, your story is going to help someone else.
Yeah.
And my strategic partner, Anthony AJ Joyner, just texted me today and said we are in 38 states and 35 countries.
Get it.
So somebody in, I don't know, Paris, France, may have needed to hear your story today.
This is true.
So that they can make it another day and continue to push forward. And somebody who may be grieving the loss of a loved one, hearing you continue to push forward will allow them to continue to push forward as well.
Absolutely. And that's what it really comes about is me sharing my story. It's less about me. I had to get outside of myself. Because for a long time I was like, I don't want to talk about it. It's sad. But it's more about, like you said, somebody else that's out there dealing with something maybe even worse than what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
That needs to hear that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. One of my quotes at the end of my main email says, our stories have less to do with us and more to do with the people witnessing it. So
absolutely.
People are watching. I'm watching. I'm like, let me see. Well, you know this girl. Let me see all this ass.com. Let me see what she talking about. I sure did. I sure did. I was like, yeah, I like that. Well, thank you so much for being a part of the Cool Soror podcast. We appreciate you. We are cheering for you. Continued success.
Absolutely.
Keep smiling and keep doing your thing.
That's all we doing.
That's all we doing. Ash Brown, everybody, ashsaidit.com. And so at the end, say, hey, my name is, sorry, this is a wrinkle, a little bootleg. Hey, my name is Ash Brown. I am a, whatever you want to say, blogger, whatever. I do everything. And I'm a cool Soror of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. However, in your own little stuff. And if you don't get it right the first time, we edit here. You know how to go.
My name is Ash Brown. I am everything under the sun. And I'm a cool Soror of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
You like it?
Yeah, I like that.
Awesome. Coolio. Make sure I got everything, honey. You know how you record something like,
this is true.
Let me go on back, make sure I got it. So I can hear you, boy. What's up, Bible? No, you sound great. Did you know that was 41 minutes?
Oh, really?
41 minutes. We were at 11. We were at 12 minutes. We hadn't even gotten into.
Child.
Yeah. What are you talking about? I swear I did not. I looked at my paper at the very end. I was like, hold on. You said 97 minutes. Wait a minute. So you did what? Yeah. You know how it is when you interview people. It's all about listening.
It is. And then they may say something that sparks off something else that you really need to tap into, and you got to jump on it right there.
You have to jump on that. So many young folks in this game are so interested in their next question that they miss so much.
They miss it altogether.
All the time. We're like, girl, listen to what you're saying. And then they'll be like, yeah, and then I got pregnant. So, tell me about your new single. What? She just said she was pregnant. She just gave you a whole nother 20 minutes of an interview.
At least.
Listen, child. What's wrong with these young folk? Oh, I'm sorry, y'all.
I'll let y'all later.
Bye.